Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about our theme of the week posted in our website Breaking Banks Pros and Cons of a Cashless Future. And this time, we are interviewing a sales manager who has a good knowledge of the finances world. So, today we are here with Amir to talk about the possibility of a cashless future. Hi, Amir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. So before we start, can you just give us an overview of your background? What have you done before?
So I have done my graduation and post-graduation in finance. I worked for banks in investment department and as well as in liability department. And after that, I moved to retail, and currently I'm working as a manager in retail store.
Great. So for our first questions, are the sales in the shops you manage mostly paid by cash or card?
So 75% of the transactions we do is by card, and 25% is by cash.
Okay. And have you ever experienced any security issue related to digital payments?
Just once a month or once a month, I would say. We get we get the calls from the banks or the Gardi about stolen cards used in the store. So that's
Yeah, because many people have security concerns about digital ways of payment. Which one do you think is a safer option to pay for a purchase?
so pay for a purchase from a business perspective is like does not make any difference, because for us it's the main concern is the cost, by at what cost I'm doing the transactions. But from a customer point of view, it is completely different, because they are, I feel it would be safer for them if they use cash, because while they are using the card or any other mode of cashless transactions, there are chances that their their like I, identity or their any anything like security concerns are higher over there, because when you are dealing in cash, you are just dealing in cash, and cash is universal, so it's not that big of a security concern unless there is a physical theft involved. But in the cashless, the security concerns are high, because first of all, you don't know like with whom you are dealing, what type of device the the business owner is using, and is that the whatever the device they are using, they might not aware, but might be that is hacked or something. So in my perspective, like as per the customer perspective, I would say the cashless is has its own concern.
Okay, and about the business perspective,
Yeah.
what is the best method to receive payments?
Best method, again, I would say it is not before. It's totally depend, like if I'm taking cash, my chances of physical robbery is goes up if we are dealing with cash. But if we are dealing with cards, then the chances of hacked or some sort of online scam is high. So it's not a choice. When you are in a business, you have to you look for the options to increase your sales, to increase your profits. So you basically do not focus on these things, that which one is best. You go for both, because you cannot refuse somebody if they don't align with your preference of receiving the money.
Okay, but if we talk about like taxes and everything, you would say cash is better.
Taxes.
Yes, like
Uh, Look, it's a new form. So currently the government, and this that's like there are like lots of lots of different angle to it. So one point of is like it is good for the government, because first of all uh, they do not have to print more cash. They do not have to maintain the flow of the cash, which saves a lot of money. But on the other hand, and the second comes to the transactions, that every transaction, if it is being recorded, then it is going to the government, that you cannot, like, you cannot manage some other way around. So that is another perspective. But the same time, there are there are concerned where couple of national governments, uh, I think in year 2017 there was a 17, if I'm not mistaken, there was a attack uh, happen on the Central Bank of Bangladesh, and by which the hackers managed to stole 150 million out of it. So that is also a concern, and it's usually the poor countries who do not who the ones does not have like the proper infrastructure, IT infrastructure. Those are the ones who faces these things.
And how likely do you think the future will be cashless?
Like, we are gonna go cashless, but I don't think so like in our lifetime this would be happening. It might take like 50, 60 years from now to go completely cashless. Till that time, there will be new forms of transactions, new forms of transfer of value will be introduced. As we know, like, the blockchain is coming, the blockchain is there. So there are like people who just think like, okay, cashless is just like there will be no concern about the robbery, it is safer. But like, this all history, if we go to the history of the cash dealing, there was always a method, there was always somebody who's trying to take the advantage of whatever method we were using to trade. And currently we think like, okay, the cash was like people physically rob you. In the cashless, it's online, everything is online. So by the time currently you are thinking like, oh, it would be secure and all that, but by the time we will be go cashless, there will be other methods would be introduced to deal with all the illegals activities.
And if this future will be cashless, what do you think will be the impacts on the type of business you manage?
I don't think so there will be an impact, because as I earlier said, like, from a business perspective, you look for your profits, you look for your sales, you look for your growth, your business growth. So you you don't choose, you don't say like no to one of them, like, oh, they were like, if I'm not wrong, I think in US one of the states or one of the city passed a law, because there were like couple of businesses were running only cashless. They were accepting cashless payments only. They were not accepting cash. And one of the big city in US, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure like they passed a law that you cannot refuse cash payments. You have to accept both.
What do you think are the pros and cons of a cashless future if it happens?
If cashless, the pros, it would be, like, the you don't have to deal physical cash. So it's, on that perspective, it is like safer, that the chances of physical rob or physical violence goes down related to cash. But at the same time, uh, like, you have concern, online concern, anyone, anywhere, they can rob you by hacking. So in with the cash, you have concern when you are in a public place, that, oh, somebody might be mug you, somebody might rob you, somebody might do the pickpocketing. But in the cashless, even if you are at home, you are awake or sleep, doesn't make any difference. You can be robbed. So both have their own advantage and disadvantages.
Yeah, because even if it is more convenient, there are another ways they can.
There are always, we always involve. It's not a like, we cannot go to a perfect and idealistic society. So we always want to be, we all feel like, oh, we are honest. We feel like, oh, we are like humble. But you see, there are always some people who are taking advantage of those things.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. Don't forget to check this subject in our webpage. If you have any questions or other theme you would like to know more about, don't hesitate to send us an email. Hope to have you here next week.